a moment.
Cameras rolling.
In front of there. I'll put that. Okay. We've got proper glasses. Right. The same rules apply for the ground rules and phones are off, toilets around there, fire exits, run like crazy, get outside, etc. And when you're ready, Andy.
Okay, go.
Good evening, my name is Terry Smith. It's 2nd of May and it's 5 to 9 on that date.
Which
Terry
is?
Smith, welcome. I've got a subject to talk to you about tonight, which is to do with food.
Hooray.
Something that may be near and dear to your heart. Often it's near and dear to your stomach. In the sort of business we work in, it's something that I have had tremendous difficulty dealing with over many years, and just completely exacerbated by sitting in the car for too long doing not much else, with the opportunity to eat. And it all sort of came to a bit of a head last year when I decided I've got to do something about this for the last time. Can I ask you, has anybody given up smoking? Successfully? Yeah. Successfully? Excellent. Well, this actually is quite a challenging achievement. I did it 18 years ago. 18 years on, I had to give up eating, because otherwise, what I saved on smoking in terms of health benefits, I was losing when it comes to eating. So, I got involved in one of those things, it's the dreaded D word, which I'm going to try and avoid using tonight, because what I really want to talk about is healthy eating. It's a change of lifestyle in terms of what we actually eat and how we deal with it that's the real problem. And this sort of business, what's the thing that's lacking when you're out in the car? Exercise. Getting in and walking round to the driver's seat and then back round to the passenger seat just doesn't do it when you're eating too many calories on a daily basis. Something like 100 calories a day too much can end up being 2 stone at the end of the year. Now 100 calories is like 2/3 of a Mars bar. Something equally insignificant like that. And what I wanted to do this evening is have a look at healthy eating with the aim and objective that you actually, at the end of the fairly short session, understand perhaps a little bit more about what is good food, and to involve you in some practical work, and to identify what you like and what you eat. Not in a particularly personal and inappropriate way. Don't want to sort of have anybody discussing things that you feel uneasy with. The thing that help improve the longer term issue that is building up nationally, what do you think that might be? Obesity, but it's connected with a particular chronic condition. Diabetes type 2. Yeah. And as recent as last week, I've got some figures here which I haven't put those stats up, but it actually says how much the National Health Service is likely to spend on that problem over the coming decades. And it's frightening, because we'd like to spend it on roads. And we'd like to spend it on, like the government spend it on education. And I'm sure if, like a lot of things, every little helps, like we're doing out on the road when we're trying to do things like what Paul and I do and Andy does with speed awareness courses, you can just have a little bit of a trickle to have a big effect at the end. Because that's one of my fundamental beliefs, that for a lot of things, driving included, we're involved in that, a small thing often has a big effect because it accumulates over the course of time. So, with that in mind, what does the word diet suggest to you? Starvation. So what's the problem with starving? Why don't you like doing that?
Yeah.
You don't lose any weight. You don't lose any weight. Why don't you lose weight when you're dieting?
Your body shuts down.
Yeah.
You don't eat enough.
The last time it saw food, it was so long ago, the next time it sees it, it wants to hang on to it. Stores it as fat. That's what bears do over the winter. They hibernate. They can go for about 4 months without food, and they come out looking sick thin, and they stuff themselves up again ready for next winter. We sort of do that in a way ourselves without realising it, if we just don't eat for the wrong reasons during the day. So, what's a very important meal? Breakfast. And that's one of the government guidelines that everybody should eat breakfast. Now that's easy to say, but if you get up at 5:30 in the morning, how much do you feel like doing breakfast? Sorry? 5:30? Yeah, twice. to suggest restricted foods, restricted quantities, and that's really shrouded in traditional thinking. If you eat less, you've got to put on less weight. Doesn't really work like that, does it? What's perhaps another way of looking at it?
Exercise more.
You can exercise more, but some people exercise till they're blue in the face.
Diet feels like denial and punishment, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It feels like control. It's something being imposed upon you. A bit like speed limits that some people like to exceed. And other things in our lives that say, hang on a minute, there's enough of this, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm just going to step outside the circle and do what I want. So what are we lacking when we do that?
Self-control.
Self-control and discipline. And what influences our choices?
Media.
Media?
What's in the
Children?
garage when we fill up
Our
the
job.
diesel?
What's in the garage when you fill up a diesel? Yeah. Is it convenient and easy to deal with? So those of you that have given up smoking, how did you deal with that? Right. How did you deal with it,
Oh,
Jimmy?
she's got one of those things.
All right,
Is that
let's do
electric
it.
one?
Yeah, she's got a problem.
Okay, okay. But ultimately, it was because you made a choice that you wanted to stop this habit and this control of your life by something that was fairly intangible but real.
It's a substitute.
It's a substitute. Food, in a way, is the same, isn't it? It's so easy to eat the wrong food. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to give out some sheets and give out some calculators. What I'd like to do in the first instance is calculate your own BMI. Body mass index. It's a calculator, please. Yes. And basically you do it on this sheet of paper. Hopefully, this is what I don't need to know, because it's all personal to you. But what I will ask you to do at the end is to add up everybody on the table and work out an average per table. That keeps it politely restrained.
You'll be alright.
Yeah, you're carrying on.
Body mass index is just a method used. Oh, indeed. Body mass index is just a formula used by the World Health Organization to get a consistency. A lot of medical people do not agree with this method of working out whether somebody is overweight or underweight. Yeah, sure, sorry, I do apologise. I only have enough calculators that I'm sure you can borrow. And there are some pencils we can have in the enough links to go all the way around here.
Have you got one in English?
No, it's all in English, it's just got some numbers after it. Yeah, one after So the way this works is as follows. What you need to do is choose whether you're going to do it in kilograms, pounds, and whether you're going to do your height in inches, metres or feet. And just work it out from there. The easy one is probably do it in pounds and inches. And then you can do the pounds, the mass in pounds, divided by your height in inches squared, times 703. That will give you your BMI. I can assure you I'm not here to judge whether you are in need of changing it or not. That's your decision. Bring some pencils down. Yeah, there you go. You can write it down. Nothing quite like writing it down.
Sorry, do you understand we're going to have to explain it to us?
Choose your... Okay, but you just need to choose probably the easy one. Your weight in pounds, your height in inches squared. So you're quite tall. You've got to be what, 5'10"? 5'9". So that's 69 squared, divided into the weight in pounds times 703. Yeah, and there's calculations. Anybody else questions? Okay. Some pens there. Some people use their own calculators. I bet they fix the answer.
Do you like my this one?
Fantastic. Thanks. So, hopefully, you will arrive at answer for your BMI. I don't need to know what that is, but I can give you some information if you're not aware of it, as to perhaps how it's judged in the eyes of the medical profession within the UK. So while you're doing that, anybody have any supplements?
Yes.
Calculator was essential, wasn't it? So if you're using your weight in pounds, which is fairly easy, stones in pounds, your height in inches needs to be squared, hence the need for a calculator, I'm sure, as you can do in your head. Once you've done the squared height, divided into your mass, times it by 703, hopefully you will come out with an answer that's somewhere between 18.5 and less than 100.
Very well. What are you using?
You should hopefully come out with a figure
To avoid the presence of one.
You should hopefully come out with a figure somewhere between 18.5 and less than 100. And I'm saying that quite nicely. It might well be less than 30 or 40, maybe slightly over. But I don't mind telling you, my BMI, after being on a healthy eating plan for the last year, is down to 31. How's the maths going? Excellent. That's a big calculator. You're getting better. That'll give you a big answer. How are we doing? I've got a big answer. You've got a big answer. Right. But it should be anywhere between about 18.5. I doubt anybody's underweight, with the greatest respect. It could be up as high as, mine was over 50 a year ago. No, it actually was, it was just under 50, but it's now down to 31. So I'm clinically obese still, but it's a whole lot better than it was. Now, there may be lots of reasons why I lose more weight, but healthy eating is something I've really taken on board. Because being on a diet absolutely appalls me, because I think of restricted foods, and I think of restricted quantities. The last thing I want to sit down to when I've been out working all day is a dinner plate size meal that's got to last me until the next one. I like actually eating lots and lots of foods. So, you've actually got something like traditional chicken curry. Very nice if you like curry. You know, there's no need to sort of step away from that. What we have to do is bear in mind how it's made up. What's an easy way to obtain a chicken curry? Buy it. Hey, where about you buy it from? Take away. Supermarket, ready meals. Can anybody remember pre-ready meals in the supermarkets?
Yeah, the dry ones, yes.
Yeah, I remember them being launched. I worked in the food trade when they were launched. Because my background before driving was actually working in the food trade from a long, long time ago. And I remember working for Waitrose when ready meals were launched. And what are supermarkets aiming to do with their ready meal product? They're trying to make a profit. And they're trying to get you to buy something that you might not otherwise consider. And if they put ingredients in it that sort of fill you up for a little while, and then get you to buy something else, it sort of works. MSG is one of those sort of things that Chinese takeaways often use. It fills you up initially, you eat loads of it, and then 3 hours later you feel like you want something else. But you've already consumed enough calories for the rest of the day, and that becomes a problem. And what we actually need is regular, controlled, disciplined choices. There's nothing that says you mustn't eat a curry. There's nothing that says you mustn't eat a Chinese takeaway. The problem is, if you do it every day, it starts to show in the sort of work we're doing. If you're a mountain climber, then you probably need that every day. You burn off the calories, or if you're practicing for the boat race. So, understanding what is good and what is bad is quite important. Choices and discipline are what it's all about. That is what life's all about, fundamentally. Now, what I'd like to do, if you would, is there's 5 tables. If I can give you some designated requirements. Paul and Natalie, could you come up with foods that you consider are good and healthy? Ladies and gentlemen, on this table, would you like to list down things that you would consider eating for breakfast with your preferences given a free choice? On this table, would you like to come up with some ideas for lunch? On this table, any thoughts about what you prefer for dinner? Doesn't matter if it's every night, every other night, Sundays and what have you. And ladies, would you like to think of the things otherwise healthy? So lunch, dinner, and doing healthy foods. Things that stick out in your mind. And if you want to come up with anything, you're more welcome to. But I was just really going to work around the tables here because of the numbers. But I understand if you want to contribute, please do. So we're thinking about healthy foods. I'll give you a couple of minutes to start with that, and I'm going to put it up on the flip chart, just so you can identify what they might be. Not trying to create a TerrySmith cookery book with 1,000 recipes here, just some off-the-cuff thoughts about what you like to eat. Okay, so please do. That's entirely. It's about choices.
Healthy eating starts with the
Okay, we're going to start today sitting down. We're going to start today with breakfast, gentlemen and ladies. What have you got for breakfast type foods? Cereal, porridge. Cereals. What sort of cereals? Special K. Okay.
Crunchy nut Cocoa Pops.
Special K, crunchy nuts. Cocoa Pops. Yeah.
Fruit and hide the water.
Fruit and water.
Tea.
Grilled tea. Milk. What type of milk? Semi-skim milk. Yeah. Toast. Yogurt. Yogurt. Toast. Coffee. Coffee. Do you like bacon egg for breakfast? Sometimes.
Only when somebody else is cooking it.
Ah, yeah, that makes it easier. So bacon egg's okay. But if you actually like a nice alternative, you know, having, if you go away for a night in a hotel, a cooked breakfast buffet the next morning, sausage, bacon, egg, toast, mushrooms, tomatoes, black pudding, it's all nice stuff. So I'll put down a cooked breakfast. That's fine.
We're getting hungry and there's supply food in there.
Probably not. Right, moving on to the next table. Lunch, please.
Liver and onions.
Liver and onions. Okay.
Fries.
Wraps.
Wraps. Okay.
That's exactly what he thought.
Toast.
Okay.
We've had toast for breakfast, that's a local.
Toasties.
Toasties.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Dry fruit. Cereal.
Cereal. Do you get up late? Do you get up late?
I'm not really early, not really. She's pretty late.
Yeah, generally for lunch, when you're out in the car, what are you looking for?
I don't.
Something quick, something easy, something you can manage.
I take sandwiches.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough, that's fine. Gentlemen, dinner.
You can always refer you to Andrew's mobile, he's got a whole list of things that he cooks.
That was a sad man. What sort of things have you got on your dinner list?
We haven't gone too specific, we've got meat, vegetables, salads.
Okay, that's fine.
Nothing specific, really.
Yeah, no, that's good. In any sort of quantity, variety of meats. The vegetables, do they include chips?
No.
Okay. I'm not after finding out whether you eat them or not. I'm only sort of trying to, veg, salads, etc. Right.
The convenience, like with little chips, wouldn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Bean stew.
Bean stew, that sounds good. Ladies, what did you come up with what I said? Fruit, yeah. Fruit, veg, sticks. Yeah. Water, yeah, good. Okay, and did you come up with anything unhealthy food to suggest? What did you come up with?
Fruit, veg, white meat, poultry, fish.
Poultry, fish, or medium rare fish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sushi. It's pretty bad.
Excellent. Right, thank you all very much indeed for that. The idea is that in reality, this choice of disciplines, that you can have anything you like. The choice is what's good for you and what's good for you, and the discipline is how often you eat it. That's the problem. What I've done over the last year, and it's helped my wife as well, is actually I've eaten most of that, but just not all the time like I used to. And breakfast can easily be porridge, and it could be, as long as you use sort of semi-skimmed or skim milk, it could easily be fruit, but what it needs to be is filling and make you feel that suddenly about 10:30 you're not in need of something else. So if you have, and I used to have a couple of slices of toast going out the door, which tends to fill you up initially, but doesn't feel sustainable, then it tends to cause you to snap when you go in the petrol station. But if you actually had enough to eat, and that happens to me now, because it's a discipline, choices like smoking, I can actually think, yeah, I've changed what I think about, and therefore if I'm going to eat something mid-morning, it nearly always is one of these things called fruit. I eat more fruit now than I ever used to eat, but it seems to work. I have to say, touch wood, I haven't had a cold in over a year, and that's an offshoot of perhaps eating more healthy food. Works better for the body. But all of this stuff, Special K, crunchy nut cornflakes, see they're a problem because they've got a lot of sugar in them. So, for some people with a rapid metabolism, that's not a problem. But if we skip breakfast thinking that's fattening, because of what we're eating, then your body's going to store the next thing it eats. So it's essential to eat regularly and reasonably
You have the
good.
lowest BMI.
Well, yeah. And we're all going to be different, and that's why the BMI is a range of weights rather than saying at 11 stone and 5'7", you're a stone overweight. Because it gives a range and tries to account for variations in build and stature. When it comes to lunch, wraps, liver onions, toasties, sandwiches, it is the quick and easy aspect we want, really. Now, what could you take that's quick and easy, perhaps with you, may save you some money, and may also provide a much healthier aspect? Carrots, yeah. Now, something I tend to do, and Andrew will know this, but go along with loads of salad. But it's salad of different sorts sometimes. Chopped up beetroot. Costco, really cheap. 12 beetroot for about £1.50. You can cube me. If you don't like beetroot, you don't have to have beetroot. Whole or hard-boiled eggs. Now, on a lot of diets, hard-boiled eggs are forbidden. In the same way that bananas are forbidden. But it's fruit. And it's just a matter of sort of thinking about what I can eat, what I shouldn't eat. Sandwiches are great, but my weakness, we all have these, is perhaps bread. I eat it, I feel full, and then later I want more, because it almost is a bit like nicotine. It's quite a desirable thing. I like the texture, the taste, and the smell.
Especially mixed grain and same.
Yeah, they just love bread. The supermarkets want you to spend your money. They want you to spend your money and they want to make profit out of you. So, again, it's a matter of really making the choices and also perhaps saving yourself some money and not having to find somewhere to do it. It's choice and discipline. You know, and you can eat as much of some of this stuff as you can manage. So you don't feel hungry and you feel quite full. But it's healthy and you don't have to count calories because that's the traditional thing with a diet. You've got to list everything down, it's got to work in the right numbers. When it comes to dinner, meat, veg and salad, jacket potatoes. Who likes jacket potatoes? Yeah, they're easy to do, aren't they? But, you know, they're actually quite a healthy product. What becomes a problem with potatoes is when you roast them in the oven in 3/4 pound of lard, or actually get them out of a chip fryer and they've got grease floating in the bottom of the bag. So, you know, don't have them every day. Or don't even have them. I've probably had chips once in 6 months.
Good chips,
I use them.
painting them with...
Yeah, you can have the old sort of spray oil and things like that. So it's a matter of improvising. But like a lot of these things, what we tend to do is go into the supermarket and grab the convenience, easy to eat stuff.
Sweet potatoes are good for you as well.
Sweet potatoes, yeah. We've explored a lot of alternative foods which are very enjoyable and have a lot of satisfaction in cooking stuff, knowing it's gone into, what's gone into the pan is just chicken, just a few spices and a little bit of water and a little bit of sauce made with a yogurt or creme fraiche and stuff like that. It doesn't have loads of E numbers after it. And it isn't putting a load of profit in somebody else's pocket, and then when you tip it out, it's half the portion you want. That's the problem. Traditional thinking is restricted foods, restricted quantities. But if you look upon it as healthy eating, I don't really see it as a diet. Fruit, veg, things like that, yeah, very important. Oily fish, and all of those things go along without sort of really having to be talked about in a great way, contribute towards a balanced diet. And that's something I had to recognise I wasn't being helped by my lack of exercise in the work I do.
So did you do things like exercise?
I do a little bit, but one of the problems is, and you know, with great suspect, you may not have had this problem, if you are overweight, exercising is the last thing you want to do. So one tends to curtail the other. When you're actually able to do it, then you're sort of like incentivised to do it more. So, you know, my exercise, I'm still an energy conservationist. I'll always take the car instead of walk. It's always been the way I am.
Have you got a bike?
I have got a bike. You mean right out there on the roads that people don't pass You've got to be mad or brave. But either way, you know, it's about choice and discipline. So, we have lots of time pressures. The availability of these things is quite a problem. And we actually, without thinking about it, we spend £1.50 here, £2.50 there. Come the end of the week, you've actually had some really nice home-cooked food that you took with you if you make that sort of choice and have that discipline. It's easy to say, it's not possible. When you gave up smoking, it was easy to make it next week, next month, beginning of the year, after Christmas, beyond the birthday. And there comes a point where that's got to stop and you've got to draw the line if you want to. That's what I chose to do with food. and it's the way I sort of think about it. There are health benefits. Energy levels may be higher. Don't have to use it walking and exercising. Use it in other ways. And of course, there's possibly a cost benefit. Who has control then?
You.
Anybody else? Who's trying to influence you?
You.
Certain markets are trying to influence you because they want you to buy stuff that they produce. That's the way it works. It's like anything.
I don't walk into a shop and look out like buying anything.
That's where I will now.
Okay.
BT and Mark's like,
Yeah, but we respond to offers and incentives, don't we? So, when are you going to do the control thing? Well, that's entirely up to you, really. That's down to choice and discipline. Hopefully you all know your BMI now. Whether that makes you look at things slightly different, that's up to you as well. But it's entirely possible. It isn't a diet, it's just a different way of eating, with a mindset, a bit like driving. You know, the people who don't like leaving gaps because somebody else uses it. Don't like coming out of a petrol station out of Mars Bar because somebody else might eat it. Got to think differently. And the money that's being projected as being costing the NHS in the country over the next 2 decades is frightening. It would make our current buttons of payments deficits seem ridiculous. About 1/6 of all expenditure on the NHS will be on diabetes treatment and prevention and dealing with the outcomes of people who have to have tests and preventative surgery and so on. And that's quite frightening, but it'll only start when everybody starts. And yeah, that's your choice. Thank you very much. Thank you. 2nd of May, on Wednesday in early.
And now back to studio.
Thank you.
Well done, Terry.
Cheers.
Anybody else want to do another one?
Yeah, it's hard getting down 4 hours. Sorry, I'm down half.
Did you switch the camera?
Oh!
Yeah, there's loads of healthy foods over there. I've been eating that stuff.